Hello and welcome to Sailing Of Course. My name is Jonas and this is Marius, Jørgen and Philip. We are 4 childhood friends from Norway that are currently living our dream. We are sailing around the world in a sailboat. Right now we're on the end of our Atlantic crossing, so the past 18 days we've been sailing from the west of Africa to the Caribbean. We've gotten a lot of questions from people wondering how it is to live full-time on a boat crossing a big ocean. So in this video we're going to try and answer some of your questions.
Food is very important to us, which is why we had to stack up with a lot of different things, because you can't just go to the grocery store on the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Some things last longer than other things, like we stacked up on mushrooms, but we had to eat them like in the first 2 days, and some things last pretty much forever, like canned things. There's been a lot of variety in our food. We made pizza, like Indian, wok, so we don't get bored of what we eat, because yeah, we love food. After like 2 weeks, you run out of fresh food, so luckily we've had some fish. We got 3 fish on the same day, which gives us more variety to our food. For making the food, we have an oven and 2 stovetops, which works on propane gas. Before we left, we also stacked up on a lot of fruits, which we hung up in our fruit nets, so we can have a little snack.
Snack?
Snack.
So communication is really important when we are 3 weeks out on the sea. So we have Iridium Go, which is our satellite communication. We can call, send messages, and also download and send mails to the family at home and also the other boats around us. And maybe the most important thing about satellite communication is the weather forecast. So we can be prepared, or we can sail from bad weather. We can constantly download the weather forecast. We can see the wind angle, the gust, the thunderstorms coming, and the wave height, everything, which is really important when you sail out in the ocean. And at last, we also send GPS tracking and also posting like short text to the people at home, so they can see where we are and also what our days looks like. Okay, so this is the weather forecast. This is the wind. We can see the wind speed and everything, the direction and strength. And also we have rain, cloud, air temp, gust, everything. We also get GPS tracking, so we can send the GPS position to the people at home, our friends and family, so they can see where we are, and also have posting small posts like this every day, so they can see what we're doing, which makes mom and dad really happy.
On board, of course, we have 2 water tanks, one in the front and one in the back with fresh water, containing 350 liters each. They're supposed to last 3 weeks for the 6 of us across the Atlantic Ocean. That might sound like a lot, but it's really not, so we have to preserve a lot of water. We've got a lot of tips from other sailors on how to do so, and one of the things is how to use salt water in our everyday things. For example, when we do our dishes, we do them in salt water. When we cook pasta, we use salt water, and when we wash our hands, we use salt water. And every now and then, we also need to wash ourselves. So we sit on the back of the boat and use a bucket with salt water and shampoo. We also have a water maker on board, which is really handy when it works, which it doesn't right now. That's why we bought 100 liters extra from the store, just in case it didn't work when we needed to. But when the water maker works, it can last us for as long as we have electricity. So we don't have to use any salt water at all, but that's when it works.
Hopefully soon then.
Hopefully soon.
When we're sailing constantly night and day for almost 3 weeks, it's really important to have a watch system. Here on board we are 6 people, and we have divided our watches into 2 hours at a time for 2 times a day, which means that each person is on watch for 4 hours a day. The person on watch is the one responsible for our sailing. That means that you have to look out for bad weather, you have to look out for other boats, and if our course is right. If the wind changes, for instance, you might have to adjust the sails or the course of the boat. Our shifts run through both the day and the night, and in the middle of the night you're all by yourself, and there we have a really important rule. At all times you should be wearing a life vest, and it should be attached to the boat with our safety line. This is really important because when you're alone, nobody knows if you fall out of the boat. But falling out of the boat is actually not an option, because when you're hooked onto the boat at all times, you shouldn't be able to fall out at all. The instruments we use on watch are radar and our chart plotter. On the radar we see bad weather incoming, and on the chart plotter we see other boats.
Being out on the open ocean for 3 weeks can get rather boring, so we have to get the time to pass. We have done a lot of different things, like playing on a Nintendo Switch, playing the guitar, reading books, listening to music and podcasts, watching movies, TV series, playing cards, fishing, making YouTube videos, and if there's no wind, we can all just jump in the ocean and have a bath.
When living on a boat that moves back and forth all the time in salt water, things get destroyed. Traveling across the Atlantic is no exception for the boat. So preparations and reparations needs to be done all the time. For example, we've repaired some door handles and fixed some stuff in the top of the mast, and there's constantly things that has to be done to make it sail as we want it to sail. And apparently that's just part of the deal.
On land, when you throw trash in the trash can, the garbage is being taken care of by the garbage truck. But here on the water, nobody is taking care of our trash, so we have to do it ourselves. When you're 6 people on board for 3 weeks on a boat, you're gonna end up with a lot of garbage. So what we do when we're out here on the Atlantic Ocean is that everything that's biodegradable, so food and human waste, can be thrown overboard, and everything else we throw in the trash bags. Everything that contains just a little bit of food is going to rot or mold, so we rinse it off in the sea and then put it in the trash. Because if we were to have smelling things on board for 3 weeks in this heat, it's gonna be terrible. In the end, we put our trash bags that are full in the dinghy behind the boat, so it doesn't smell inside of the boat. It's a win-win, win-win.
When we cross the Atlantic Ocean, we use a lot of power, as we do at home. Charging mobile phones, computers, listening to music, lights, navigation, and also the autopilot is taking a lot of power. So we have solar panels on the back of the boat, which is 900 watts, and powers with a lot of electricity. When it's cloudy, the solar panels doesn't make any power. Then we need to run the engine for making power on the old way with our alternator. There's a lot of different types of sail you can use on sailing, but on this crossing we have asymmetric spinnaker, which is made for light wind, and also we have a Genoa, which is made for a little bit more wind. These two are the only sails we have been using all the crossing. So as you can hear now, the waves is too big and the wind is too light, so the Genoa doesn't hold. So we had to start the engine. And also we have some problems with the engine, so we have to go in the engine room and start the engine. Okay, so we have lost the gear tool in the cockpit. We have to put it in gear inside here, right on gear, like this. We can start the engine from the cockpit either. So we have this extra button over here. Also now we have to put it in gear. And also this is the gas. And this is how we move our home from A to B over the Atlantic Ocean.